This is the thing about like manifestation, signs, all everything. And people talk about in terms of spirituality and like making these big decisions. There are people in this world who do really receive a sign and they're like, I'm gonna do it, and they take a leap of faith. And all of a sudden their lives, it was they listen to the sign and things just unroll like exactly like in the best ways possible. There are some people like that. And there's a lot of us who are in survival who like you could throw me a sign that says like, jump right now and you're gonna be a billionaire. And I'm just like, I don't think so. And so it ends up taking some like really fucked up shit. Some like finally listening to my mind, body, spirit, and soul. I have to go through some fucking wild shit to finally listen and make a decision. But it like just takes bigger pressure. I think about this like with like the concept of interoception issues with like neurodivergent people. There's some people who literally have a hard time feeling. I was literally explaining that today to my dad and to our niece. And when you have a hard time feeling, do I need to go to the restroom? Am I thirsty? Am I actually hungry? You know, it is a lot more likely that you're also gonna miss like this builds up and there's consequences to that. So sometimes, even though you get a whole bunch of signs, sometimes it's the most chaotic, the most painful, the most like um the biggest fucking signs that you finally see. And those biggest signs tend to be like health declining, burnout, like you're in the pits of hell. You sometimes you end up going through you have to go through like the worst experience of your life for you to finally make a decision to do something different. And it's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're not intuitively connected, because everyone talks about spirituality, and it's like some people tell these stories that at a certain point in my life, I'm like, I don't know if I believe you anymore. Because they do paint these very um, some stories that are just like a fantasy, and it completely removed from white supremacy, completely removed from systems of abuse, and that is not the reality for many of us spiritual practitioners who are actually doing the work of um, being in the trenches with our community members while trying to not only break away from systems of abuse but also do the work of building something else. Because one thing that you need to know is that you cannot spend your entire time destroying something or dismantling it. You also need to have a plan for what happens next. And so you have to build. And building, when no one tells you that building takes time. Like building isn't takes intentionality. Building takes, believing that, like actually knowing that it is possible. And like what's hard is when you're in the pits of hell, it is so scary to believe, but it's also just very difficult to sustain that because you're fighting for your fucking life. You don't know if you're gonna make it. And that's when like the people who like you need the people, you need the resources, you need the care to help you make it past, because there's a point when you take a leap of faith and you're in the pits of hell that it's a touch and go situation. You could survive and then start moving in a direction of being able to heal and like move towards what you took a leap of faith for. But there's also a point where we could lose you. There's a very there's a really big moment in that transition from taking a leap of faith to rebirth. And sometimes people don't make it to rebirth. You know, we're like parteras, we're doulas. We help people rebirth. But it's not a cute process. Birth is an acute process. It's messy, it's really uncomfortable, and it is painful. It's traumatic. for a lot of people, especially in the world that we live in. Like, it is not a celebration of life. Under Western ways of doing things, it's a very mechanical, very dehumanized way. I'm not saying everyone's births are terrible, because, like, there are people who had wonderful birth stories, but they also, I bet you if I looked at their social locations, they had access, their social locations were such a point that their proximity to power, to resources, was astronomical compared to other people who had horror stories. And it falls everywhere in between. But, like, we're always getting signs, but when you struggle to connect with yourself, when you struggle to be present, when you are surviving or you're drowning, sometimes you're not going to see them. And the sign is like the moment where you say, like, I'm going to live, I'm going to keep on swimming. I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this, but I'm going to keep trying to swim, and that's it. And you just literally keep swimming, keep swimming. And if you're doing that, like, you're following the sign. You are already doing more than enough. You are intuitive. You are a spiritual being. You are attuned. Whatever word you want to say. And you are manifesting because you're literally creating this for yourself. You're choosing to keep going, taking a leap of faith, and keep going until you get to your rebirth. And the thing that no one tells you is there's multiple rebirths. It's a scary process, though, and you do need people by your side. And so, go get yourself some people. Go find people that care about whether or not you're going to keep swimming. Go find yourself people who are going to swim alongside you. Not because they're drowning, but because they want you to know that you're not alone. Get yourself people who actually give a fuck about you. And who care that you keep on swimming.